Hi, my name's Scott Naismith and this is my 5th video about colour. And this is understanding the colour wheel. And for this video you might want to download one of my colour wheels, which is available on my website, and to do that this is my website just here, and there's a colour wheel button, and that'll bring you through to this page which shows one of my colour theory videos, my last one. And if you scroll down, there is a colour wheel download. Now you just need to click one of these wheels and we'll go for the black one. On a PC it will come up open or save, and you can save it and print it. On here we'll just save the image. We'll come back out into our photos and we can see that there are 2 colour wheels. Okay, so that's how to get one of these CMY colour wheels that I've been using in previous videos. Once you have them printed out, you can print them on A4, or if you've got a bigger printer, you can do so. Make sure your colour is printing properly on your printer, as mine wasn't on that one. So we're going to use this colour wheel here. Okay, anyone that's not seen my video The Truth About the Colour Wheel, you can do that to see why I'm using the CMY wheel. Cyan, magenta, yellow and RGB are the secondaries. Now this video is really about colour mixing, what it means to mix colours and have this as a reference. As these colours taper into the centre, they grey out. To grey out this colour, we add this colour, because they are complements. But you might be asking, what if I say mix a green with, say, a red? 2 traditionally considered colours to be complements. On the incorrect wheel, on the CMY wheel, they're not complements. But what happens if we mix 2 secondaries together? Mixing 2 secondaries together gives us a tertiary colour made of all 3 colours. But it's a bit hit or miss sometimes when you think, what happens when I mix these 2 secondaries. I'm going to just demonstrate what happens when I mix May Green, which is a schmink acrylic, with cadmium red. And the anchor points within your colour wheel are the primaries, here, here and here. By anchor points I mean that to get all these saturated colours around here, you use this colour and that colour. If you mix a colour beyond an anchor point, i.e. beyond the primary, you start to get tertiary colour, greyed out colour. If we want to mix a red, we can do it with a orangey yellow and a rose colour. So for example, cadmium orange mixed with Quinacridone Red could make you a nice medium red colour. Now that doesn't take away completely cadmium red from your colour mixing palette, because cadmium red tends to give you that vivid, absolute saturated red that is difficult to get. But you can get it if you glaze colour over each other. So if you start with cadmium orange and you glaze over a transparent rose colour, you can get this really vivid red, and the key in the vividness is in the transparency of the colour. And that's why we need cadmium red in the range, because we also need opaque saturated colour as well, which is difficult to get with mixing. So let's look back at those anchor points. We have an anchor point here and an anchor point here for primaries. You mix that together with that and you get that. Mix that together with that and you get that. Mix that together with that, you don't necessarily get this because you're beyond that anchor point of the primary. But what you do get is a version of that hue, but it gets pulled in a little bit. So a saturated orange mixed with a saturated lime green should give you a desaturated yellow. So you actually do get some of these colours within yellow by mixing you can achieve a desaturated primary by mixing from either side of the primary. So let's think about that theory and say to ourselves, so if we mix cadmium red with green, we can kind of draw a line across from cadmium red to green, and technically as we mix cadmium red into green, we'll pass by this colour, this colour, this colour, this colour and this colour as we add more cadmium red to the green. I'm going to be using a green round about here. It's May green from Schmink, and it is probably towards, it has a yellow bias, this green, and the cadmium red is pretty much right on the secondary red colour here. So let's look at how that works. Okay, here's my two colours here, cadmium red, May green from Schmink. I'm going to start with the green. It isn't as strong a colour as the red, so you want to start with that one and then gradually add the cadmium red. And what we should find is this kind of greyed out or desaturated yellow. At the moment it's desaturated orange, which is a browny colour. And the more green that you would add to that would bring it towards the yellow. It's actually a very yellow green, so you would need a fair bit of that green to bring it back towards desaturated yellow. And there we have it. We've got a kind of orangey yellow desaturated to make this browny colour. This is a colour that can be sort of used within your skin tone range. If we add a little bit of titanium white to that, we start to appreciate the yellow content of that paint. And we have actually created a yellow from green and red. And that really is quite surprising for some people to actually appreciate that you can get yellow from red and green. So let's just go back to the colour wheel and see where we are with this colour here. And it looks somewhere around this kind of area. If I just put that on there, it's a little bit of a darker version of that shade there. This colour mixing, which is not really the obvious, you can achieve some great things with it. And the key to it is not necessarily the colour that you end up in, but it's the ability to actually adjust that colour with the two colours it's made from. Now by that I mean it, once you end up with this colour, we can add a little bit more of the green that made up this colour and we can pull it that way. We can add a little bit of red to warm it up, and we're not mixing too many colours which would make the mix too complex. Let's look at another example of this that I quite like to do, which is dioxazine purple is a colour that can be labelled round about here. And to create a kind of desaturated kind of blue here, this would be maybe your ultramarine, and to desaturate it you could be adding sort of these colours here, but also to desaturate this kind of blue colour here, we can add to that a bit of green. Now if we take dioxazine purple, we add a little bit of say a green from here, which would be phthalo green, which is slightly cyan green. we would end up with this colour in here. And if you download this colour wheel that I've created, the colour in here is quite an interesting one for a lot of people to take in. When you actually see this blue colour being desaturated, it becomes, you perceive it to be quite purple once it's desaturated. You would obviously need a little bit of titanium white just to brighten that colour up to see it. Now, I did toy with the idea of labelling this colour wheel with some of the brands, well, not brands, but the names of some of the colours that I have on my palette. But I'll just go through some of them in this video so that you know. But it's a good idea to have a kind of handle on where your tubes of paint lie on this colour wheel. Cadmium yellows will be this side of the yellow, and lemon yellows will be this side of yellow. Primary yellows try to be right in the middle. I've mentioned cadmium here, and this would be cadmium orange. Over here we've got Quinacridone Red, tends to be around about here. This one, magenta, Quinacridone Magenta, would actually come slightly purpley, depending on your brand, slightly purpley magenta. Dioxazine purple, we've got, I tend to use Blocks blue, but your ultramarine would come in this category here. Also Prussian blue would kind of come in here as well. It's a darker shade and it would come sort of this to this category. Over here we've got cobalt. Cobalt blue is between cyan and blue, and possibly the most surprising one, maybe phthalo blue. Phthalo blue is actually, I think, a lot closer to cyan. It's possibly on the blue side of cyan, but as soon as you add a little bit of titanium white to it, you'll realise that it's quite a cyan colour. It's quite good for a primary colour, good for mixing your greens with, and also quite good for mixing your blues with. Take phthalo blue with a little bit of dioxazine purple to get this mid blue here. And we've got greens. I've mentioned the green that I use is phthalo green here. Then you've got maybe your mid green here, viridians and things like that. You've got your sap greens would end up a slightly desaturated version of this. But I also had the acrylic there was May green, I think it was called, just here, and you're back to yellow. And that's it. And understanding where your paints come in this wheel allows you to understand what may happen, and I do say what may happen should you mix those two colours together. Idiosyncrasies of paints sometimes produce some strange effects. There are some great colours there that actually change their hue depending on how thinly you apply them to the surface. That's how to use this colour wheel. You can get it, it's free on my website. There is a donate button. I think it's to donate like £2, and if you want to do that, that's great. It's a free resource, but the more donations I get for things like that, the more that I can put into providing these kinds of things for you. So any donations are welcome, so thank you very much. My name is Scott Naismith, know the truth, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and please subscribe to the channel.